Hello everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Strompfel and I am the coach of the Chelsealeo FC in this season of the GPC. We're currently sitting at a 3-2 record after two pretty unfortunate losses last 2 weeks, so we're really looking for a win this week to end our losing streak, and we're trying to do that versus my close in real life friend named Oscar, who's also a pretty good battler, that is, because he's also got a 3-2 record, and you know, beating him would be like so clutch because, you know, we want to end our losing streak, and since he also is 3-2, we want to get that advantage for a potential playoffs run. Being 4-2 is way better than being 3-3. So, you know, I am putting my A game into this game. That kind of rhymed in a way, you know. Yeah, but unfortunately Oscar is on my front office, you know, I won't get any help from him, but you know, building on myself is fine. I think I will be able to manage that. But with that all being said, let's just jump right into the matchup. So the team that Oscar has constructed, as you can see on your right, is kind of weird in many aspects, but Oscar has proven himself many times during the season that this team can be very efficient, even though it misses some key components, such as a Dragon Fairy Steel Core, which some teams very much want. But, you know, we won't judge a team just by having different sort of cores, we want to judge a team by how efficient it is, and Oscar has proven that it can be very efficient. He does have some very offensive, like big offensive threats to my team, such as like Katana, which can easily sweep an opponent. He has the Minior, which can also easily sweep an opponent. He has the Mega Blasters, Nidoking and Sylveon Breaking Core. He has a very fat and ugly core as well with the Suicune and the Uxie, and then you just throw a random Galvantula on there and call it a Sticky Webs team, which is, you know, it can work. It's just something you don't see that often. Now, the good thing here is that I have team builder with Oscar so many times during the season, so I know which sets he likes on which Pokemon, and I also know which Pokemon he prefers over others, which is really good because that kind of scales down my team building. I don't have to prepare for everything, just mainly for the sets that he likes to bring. This is usually not how I prep, but versus Oscar I do think this is a valid thing to do. He loves having Scarlet Katana, he loves having a Suicune with Roar and Protect, he loves having Uxie with Yawn. He loves having his Mega Blasters with 4 attacks. He also loves having his Wish Protect Sylveon. So those sets is kind of what I am aiming to prep for the most. I do also have some other Pokemon that I need to prepare for, like Sticky Webs in general. I do need to prepare for like a Scarlet and Alive from Nidoking because he loves them both. Minior is a big threat. He hasn't brought it that much, but you know, that can easily sweep an unprepared team. Now, looking at some key strategies or some key Pokemon that I have against him, you can see that he has very limited hazard support, only in Default Katana and Rapid Spin Mega Blastoise. So having Stealthrox up is going to be super key, especially like powering down his Typhlosion's eruptions, you know, making Minior a little bit easier to deal with, making Sylveon take damage every time it switches in, making Suicune take damage every time it switches in. That's going to be super clutch. I definitely want to have Stealthrox on something. You can also see that his 1000 arrow switch-ins is not really existent. His best switch-in is the Suicune, and you do have to keep in mind that Zygarde is my Z captain, so I can kind of tailor-made my Zygarde into beating the Suicune with some sort of Z move. So that's going to be a lot of fun. He also has very limited like flying resist on his team, as you can see. He only actually has like one, I'm not going to count Carbink. He only has one, and that's Minior, and you know, you don't really want to switch in the Minior on the Tornadus because you can catch any sort of coverage move, and you know, Minior is the thing that you usually want to sweep with in the end. So having Tornadus with a bunch of flying, hard-hitting stab is going to be awesome. Some other like key Pokemon I do have, which is kind of good. You can see that his team is kind of weak to Mega Nancy. His team is kind of weak to his team is kinda weak to Cobalion, not in the way that I can just come in and sweep with him, more in the way that I can just weaken his Fat Core or his checks to my Zygarde and Tornadus and make them really shine. Something else that is very important to keep in mind is that I do need to keep a defensive check to Katana alive at all time, because you know, if Nidoking or Sylveon comes in, reveals himself to be breaker sets, and I switch in my original defensive check for Katana and just lose it, I might just be sitting in the shit, because Katana can just go ape shit crazy on my entire roster with a Choice Guard, which is really bad. So I definitely need to make sure to have at least one or maybe even 2 Katana checks on my team. But I do think that's about it when it comes to the matchup, and let's just go right into the team that I am bringing. So, kicking off the squad this week is gonna be my Mega Diancie, and this is no ordinary, like, hyper-offensive Mega Diancie. No, this is actually my Stealth Rocks lead Mega Diancie with the Stealth Rocks Protect, Diamond Store, and the Moonblast, and the main objective for the Diancie is just to get up rocks, because I don't really need Mega Diancie that much, because it kind of gets stopped by Suicune and by Nidoking and stuff like that, so I kind of rather just get up rocks and then let Diancie go, unfortunately. But you know, Diancie will at least do that. I do have the Protect just to scout, I don't know, for like a Hidden Power Steel Uxie or something like that, if I run into that. I also really need Diancie to lead off because I want to deny Sticky Webs from going up, so you know, just having that Protect will be nice. I have learned my lesson from last week's act, as you can see on the right. I can take a Life Orb, Hidden Power Steel from the Galvantula. I think it's highly likely I actually will bring that, so I have EV'd for it, just so I will be able to get up my rocks, which is so important, and I can actually Moonblast or Diamond Storm that shit back. So yeah, Mega Diancie, main objective just to get up rocks. Next up we got ourselves Tremble, the Zygarde, and this time we are rocking a Groundium Z Zygarde with a Dragon Dance set, and this might actually be one of my favorites Zygarde set overall, just having that ability to just Dragon Dance up, smack the counter with a Z Thousand Arrows, or a Z Earthquake in this case, and then just go from there. Thousand Arrows is, as I said, very spammable against his team. He only has one thing that can take it on, and that is the Suicune, which is what I want to Groundium Z, and it might be kind of questionable to have both Thousand Arrows and Earthquake on the same set, but there is a very good explanation for it. As you can see, it does not have the best ground resist, mainly being the Uxie and also the Suicune, and if I can get rid of one of those two, I can just click Earthquake, which is actually stronger. Or I can choose to click Z Earthquake, which becomes, I think, 20 base power stronger than Z Thousand Arrows, which actually influences the damage calc versus Suicune a lot. So I actually have a better chance of KOing a very defensive Suicune with a +1 Earthquake than I do have with a +1 Z Thousand Arrows. No wait, +2 Z Earthquake and +2 Z Thousand Arrows. So if he thinks that he can take the Z Thousand Arrows, then I will just whip out the Z Earthquake and maybe take him out. So that's the plan. But I do have high hopes of Zygarde this week. I do think it's going to put in mad amount of work. Next up we got ourselves Tornadus, and this time we are rocking a mono bird spam set in a way, because we are rocking only flying stab attacks with the Hurricane Air Slash. We also do have the Taunt and the U-Turn to round out the set, with the Sharpie to boost up all our flying attacks. And as I said, he does have a slight weakness to the flying stab. He only has the Minior, which can switch into them, and he also does have a Carbink, but I don't expect Carbink to come. I do have the Taunt and the U-Turn as well. U-Turn is just to gain momentum and maybe get myself into my Zygarde to get a setup opportunity. I do also have the Taunt, because I couldn't really fit on a move to cover both Uxie and Minior. I am very scared of the Minior, so I do need to prevent that from setting up, and since I didn't want to have a specific coverage move for the Minior, I decided for Taunt to send, because Taunt can also shut down a Rest Calm Mind Suicune, can shut down a Yawning Uxie and stuff like that, so I did feel like Taunt was the way to go. But Tornadus is going to be awesome this week. I can outspeed pretty much every single thing on my opponent's side of the field. U-Turn the things that I cannot OHKO, and just Hurricane the absolute fuck out of the things that I can. Also, I do have the Air Slash as a backup option if I need to flinch something, or if I just have to pick something off and don't want to rely on Hurricane Misses, because that's what it does the best. So now you might wonder how I do manage to break down the fat core so my Zygarde can just set up and sweep, and the answer is this weird Cobalion set that I have created, which is a leftovers semi-Spidef with the Taunt Toxic, Ironhead and the Close Combat. And this is just weird at first glance. I can agree with that, because, you know, you normally see Cobalion sort of like mixed offensive or like semi-offensive with Stealth Rocks, but this is just straight up supportive. And yeah, Cobalion's main job is just to Toxic and Taunt and just shut down the defensive core. I can also Ironhead the things that wants to come in, such as like the Nidoking, not for a lot of damage, but you know, I can at least touch them. And I can also Close Combat the things that I cannot Ironhead, such as the Mega Blastoise or the Suicune. This is mainly gonna be here to try and combat the Uxie, because Uxie is not gonna do anything to me, especially with my highly Spidef investments. And getting a Toxic off on that will help my Zygarde and my Tornadus, and as you can see later on down the road, another Pokemon very much. So Cobalion is mainly here for one job, but if you can pull off that job, that will help out the team a lot. Now, I didn't really feel like we had that many switch-ins into stuff like Mega Blastoise and, you know, like Nidoking and Sylveon at this point, so I just threw on my boy Amoonguss. Because, you know, Special Defensive Amoonguss is just a wave at this point, it's usually what I bring. And this is also a straight-up counter to Calm Mind Suicune with the Clear Smog, which is awesome because, you know, putting something to bed will be a lot of fun this match, because, you know, he does have so many Pokemon that relies on each other, such as the Uxie, you turning into something like Sylveon, and if I shut down something like the Heal Bell Sylveon and I can Toxic the Uxie, that will be a lot, and that will be so good for me. And Katana doesn't really want to switch in on me because I do have Hidden Power Fire, and of course I do have the Giga Ring just for general stab, because I felt like that was the best stab choice this game. Amoonguss can also function as a semi-reliable Katana check coupled with Cobalion, because, you know, the only coverage move Katana gets to deal with the Cobalion is the Sacred Sword, which Amoonguss chews up for days, and the only really coverage move that Katana gets to deal with Amoonguss is the Psychic Cut, which Cobalion should be able to take on without a problem. So these two kind of function as a Katana check together, because, you know, I can switch in between them and can't really break them, even though I do not have that much defense investment on either of my defensive core. But, you know, I can just Hidden Power Fire it or Close Combat it to the next dimension. But even though I do have these defensive core, as I said, they don't have that much physical bulk, so adding a third member would be pretty good in my opinion. So that's what we will do now. And even though this Pokemon hasn't done so well for us this season as I hoped it would, I'm still gonna give this Pokemon one last shot, and this is gonna be exclamation mark the Wobbuffet. And this time we're trying to trap either the Nidoking, the Kartana, I think we're trying to trap the Typhlosion, the Medicham, or the Minior, I think. I think those five, just taking one hit, getting me in range of Kostap, and then just kill them with the Destiny Bond. But, you know, I do have the Mirror Coat countered Encore and Destiny Bond. This time I'm just gonna try and trade this Wobbuffet for another Pokemon on my opponent's side of the field. Just, you know, remove one thing. As I said with the Amoonguss, putting one thing asleep will disrupt his strategy. Just removing one thing will disrupt his strategy even more. So I didn't really feel like I needed a last Pokemon here. None of my Pokemon really had like that good of a matchup or that big of a role, so I needed to bring them. So I felt like just having a trader might actually benefit me more than having something that I might sack. So Wobbuffet, I'll give you one last shot. If you do not do anything this battle either, I will probably trade you away. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the team builder. Let's jump right into the battle. So, going into the game versus our Week 6 opponent Oscar and the mons that he brought, you can see that he did not decide to bring the Kartana or the Minior, which is two huge Pokemon that I really was scared of when I team builded, so not having to deal with those two are super important. He does bring some other like very threatening Pokemon. You can see he did bring the Galvantula, so Sticky Webs is something that I do have to deny. He brought the Fat Core with Uxie and the Suicune, probably some sort of like Roar Protect Suicune, because, you know, Oscar loves that shit. We see a Nidoking, very big threat. I do not have really any switches to it. I need to try and trap it with my Wobbuffet. That's probably going to be the one that I try to trap. Medicham could be annoying, you know. Mega Blastoise is super good as well. And, you know, if you did decide to skip the team builder, I'll just go run by my team real quickly. I do have a Z Earthquake Zygarde just to be able to do a little bit of extra damage with my Z move versus the Suicune. I do have a lead Diancie with Protect and Stealth Rocks, Eevee to take the Hidden Power Steel from a Life Orb Galvantula in case I need to. I do have a mono flying attacking Tornadus, which looks super good against his team because it does not have a flying resist. We also do have the like defensive breaker Cobalion with Taunt and Toxic, just to be able to stop the Suicune and the Uxie and wear them down to put them in range of Zygarde. Then we have the Trapper Wobbuffet aim to trap something on the opposing side of the field. Not really specifically one Pokemon, but just trapping something in general is good. And then we have the Special Defensive Amoonguss aim to take on the Mega Blastoise, the Suicune, and I can also take on the Galvantula if I need to. So I'm just gonna lead off straight away with my Diancie as he leads up with the Galvantula, so that is perfect. I just get an opportunity to break its sash straight away with the Moonblast as he actually reveals the hidden power steal. So my Eevees comes in very clutch. I am able to take the hit and I can just go for a second Moonblast and take him out. But he does not allow me to do that, so I'm just gonna fire off a Moonblast into the Suicune instead and tell you that this is a super special defensive Suicune, which means that my Zygarde is looking super good. So I'm just gonna get up my Stealth Rocks because, you know, it's not a Scoff's Suicune if it did that little, and I'm just gonna die. So Diancie did his job. I basically took out the Galvantula, now the Stealth Rocks are up, and I got up my rocks, and Suicune set has now been revealed. So I'm just gonna go out into my Suicune counter, which is my Amoonguss, and I'm just gonna fire off a Giga Drain into Protect and then put this guy to sleep. And as you can see, I moved before Suicune, which means that Suicune has Roar. So basically, all three of the, like, given moves that I know Oscar will bring has already been revealed. Roar, Protect, and Scald, and now we just need to scout out the last move, which can be like Calm Mind, it can be, I don't know, he likes to have Ice Beam sometimes and Rest as well. Toxic is another option, but you know, he roars me out into my Zygarde. I'm just gonna go back into my Amoonguss as he reveals Ice Beam, so we know this week is full set, which is awesome because, you know, that might come in clutch later. I'm just gonna go into my Cobalion on the Protect because I do think Oscar will try and stall me out of Giga Drains so that Suicune can wall the Amoonguss. So here is a questionable play from both of our parts. He goes for the Protect, which I thought was kind of interesting because I just want to get off a Toxic, but I thought that he was trying to predict, or that he didn't really want to risk me setting up a Swords Dance in this Suicune's face, so I'm just going to go for the Toxic, but he actually goes for Protect, so he blocks my Toxic, so now he has scouted my set. I could have gone for the Close Combat, predicting something like the Uxie, no, not really the Uxie, but like the Blastoise or the Nidoking to come in, but you know, I'm just gonna go for the Toxic into the Suicune, and I know that Oscar will try and switch out into either Galvantula or the Nidoking, so I'm just gonna try and trap the Nidoking straight away, which works out perfectly, because you know, now I can actually try and get rid of one of the biggest threats to my entire team. I have EV'd my Wobbuffet in a way that I should be able to take 2 Life Orb Timid Sludge Waves from a Nidoking. It has a, I think it is like 6.3% chance of 2 KOing me. So, you know, I'm just gonna stay in, I'm going for Encore, because if he has Sub or something, okay, you can see that did a little bit more, but if he has Sub or something, I want to lock him into that and not try and Mirror Coat into a Sub, which would just suck. So, he actually does 51.7% with the first Sludge Wave, and that is the absolute max roll for a timid Nidoking. So, little do I know, he was actually modest. So I Encore him into the Sludge Wave, and I do not switch out because I think that I have a high chance of just taking another one. Turns out he is modest and I die. So Wobbuffet letting me down once again. Yeah, Wobbuffet's just not working out for me. I do think I need to throw that shit out the window. But, you know, he's locked into that Sludge Wave, so I have a free setup opportunity with my Zygarde. I can just come in and I can just click my Dragon Dance. In comes the Suicune, and this is perfect because he is actually in range of the Z Earthquake after this little leftover recovery. So I'm just gonna go straight for it, just fire it off, smack that shit from the ground, and you can see that he lives. So let me explain this. Yeah, I clicked the wrong Z move. I clicked the C1000 arrow, so the whole point of this set has now been also thrown out the window with my Wobbuffet. Like, I had Earthquake for one thing, and this was the Suicune, and I didn't even click the right Z move. I think, I don't know what I did. Maybe something like came up on the side that I had to do, so I clicked the wrong Z move. But, you know, Suicune's gonna live. He can now Ice Beam me. Luckily, he goes for Roar, so that's awesome. Maybe not wanting me to set up a sub or something. So he roars me into Cobalion. That is totally fine. I'm just gonna go straight up for the close combat on the Nidoking. I know I cannot Toxic this Suicune for a while, so I'm just gonna close combat into the Nidoking. It does nothing, and here I am so far in the back, so I need to make a hard prediction and go into my Tornadus on the predicted Earthquake, which works out fine. So I'm just gonna fire off a Hurricane, I think, as he sacks off this Suicune to rocks, so that is totally fine. Yes, I do go for the Hurricane because Air Slash was not in range to KO. So he goes into his Mega Blastoise. I'm just gonna U-turn out and go into my Amoonguss, because Amoonguss can take on this Mega Blastoise fairly well at this point. The worst thing he can do is Ice Beam. Oh no, I go into my Cobalion predicting the Ice Beam. Well, I am good. I'm just kidding. But he gets a crit. It does not matter because I am actually going to revenge crit this Blastoise because I think Cobalion has done its job. Might as well get some damage to Blastoise, put him in range of the little Hurricane or the Air Slash from my Tornadus. So I'm just going to go straight into my Tornadus after Cobalion dies, and I'm just going to fire off said Air Slash as he sacks off the Galvantula and makes a good play, because now he still has the potential for Blastoise to come in on my Amoonguss and do a lot of damage with Ice Beam. So he goes into his Uxie, and as you can see, Tornadus is looking super good, so I do not want to put this guy to sleep, which is the thing that I am predicting him to do. So he's going to go for the Yawn on my Amoonguss. That is totally fine. I can just put something on his team to sleep, and he's gonna go for a U-turn, and he gets affected by Effect Spore. And I don't know if anyone caught this, but apparently my Amoonguss has the wrong ability. I did not realize this when I built, I did not realize this when I recorded a team builder, but Amoonguss apparently has the wrong ability, which actually works out in this situation, because, you know, I poisoned the Uxie for free, which is awesome, because now I can actually put Nidoking to sleep too after I status the Uxie. So yeah, Amoonguss doing much more than I expected, and I really should double check my abilities before I go into battle. So, you know, Nidoking needs to take one turn of sleep here, so I get a free switching again to my Zygarde, and I can just click in 1,000 arrows and just take that shit out. So now he has only 3 Pokemon against my 3. One of them is status, one of them is super low, and then he has this scary Medicham who can potentially clean up my team with a scarfed Ice Punch. But luckily my Tornadus is easy to take a Ice Punch at 100%. It does a maximum of 99%, which is super solid. So I'm gonna try and like play my Tornadus in a way that I don't take any sort of damage. And you're gonna see that this actually comes into play later. So I'm just gonna switch out into my Amoonguss, maybe get another Effect Spore. Who knows? No, unfortunately not. He goes for the Ice Punch, it does so much. We can see that he's jolly, no boosting items, so it could be a Choice Scarf. He goes for another Ice Punch, and I actually Effect Spore the poison again. So Amoonguss putting in mad work with this Effect Spore. Not what I expected, but you know, I love these little like unpredictable things. So I'm just gonna go into my Tornadus. I'm gonna fire off an Air Slash. The Medicham is definitely in range of an Air Slash, and as you can see, the Uxie is actually in range of an Air Slash too after the poison. But I had decided to not go for it because I do not want to take any sort of damage on my Tornadus if not needed to. In order to make the roll on Medicham in my favor. So I'm just gonna instead go into my Zygarde and just go for to take the Yawn and then go for the Air Slash. No Air Slash Zygarde here, so we just go for the 1,000 arrows, and we're gonna take out this Uxie, which is awesome. But unfortunately Zygarde goes to sleep, so if he has some weird like combination of Sub and Ice Punch and you know, God knows what on the Medicham he could potentially win. Luckily goes into the Mega Blasters, revealing to me that the Medicham is probably scarfed, but can't lock himself into Ice Punch quite yet. He needs to try and dodge one of my moves in order to win, because U-turn will actually not get him from here. Luckily I do hit my Air Slash, and now it comes down to if he crits me or if he freezes me with a Scarf Medicham, he can win the game. But as you're gonna see, he's not even Scarf Medicham or Adamant Scarf Medicham who can't outspeed me. So that is gonna be good game versus my man Oscar, and this was such a good game in my opinion. I am really glad that I won, but I gotta say GG to my man Oscar. That was an amazingly played game by your part, and so good, so many good like texts that you had as well. With the Hidden Power of Steel on Galvantula, and especially with that modest Nidoking just really throwing me off. But that's gonna put us at a 4-2 record, finally getting over that little lose streak that we had a while back. But you know, finally we're at the winning seats again. So we're now at a 4-2 record with a +7 differential, I think. 7 or 6 differential. Can't really say for a fact. But that's gonna be it for this week of the GPC. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm gonna see you all next week. Goodbye.